What's up, Space Humans? Pat Harrison here. I'm a beekeeper here in northern New Jersey, and well, this is now my podcast. I'm going to be calling it maybe the Patrick Knows Nothing podcast, and well, this is episode 1. If this is the first time that you're coming here and you're seeing me on the internet, welcome. Well, I'm a beekeeper. Keep about 200 hives here in northern New Jersey. I produce honey, I make candles, and I keep bees for people here in northern New Jersey, where if you want to have bees but can't or don't want to do anything about it, I'm able to do that for you. And I wanted to use this first episode to introduce myself past that little elevator pitch. I have a couple things written down, and the way that my brain works, and so that I don't say and 100 times during this video, I'm gonna need my little book here. I want to talk about why I started HarBee. I want to introduce myself and say who I am and how those two things are related, and then really dive into what I'm trying to do here. Like I said, I got about 200 hives. Show the camera. There's going to probably be a bunch of people that are just listening. This is the main spot. That's the store. This is the barn. And well, these are just 4 hives that I got here. And so, well, why did I start HarBee in the very beginning? It was 2017. I was in college. I was studying environmental science at Ramapo. I did 2 years at Bergen Community, and I knew that, and I learned there that I really wanted to go into business. I had a passion for business. Or I might want to do some kind of government thing. And well, and even then, I think not-for-profit was also on the radar there. I guess I just didn't understand that realm very much. So I went to Bergen really because I didn't do very well in high school. I was taught how to read almost when I was like in sixth grade. It was something called the Orton-Gilliam way of learning, and I got tested for dyslexia, and then had both types. Don't really understand exactly what it meant. And then I was used as like the guinea pig to get the teacher certified in what now is a common thing in schools. Like the Orton-Gilliam was like getting glasses and not knowing you needed them. And those blurry green blobs in the distance, they have texture, and the texture is different from tree to tree. And that's kind of like what happened with words on pages when I was in 6th grade. I think a lot of things with dyslexia that people end up doing really well is really contribute to something like what I had, and a situation like what I had, where you spend a lot of time developing coping mechanisms. I like to say, how did I get into 6th grade with not being able to read? Oh, I like to joke and say that I was charming. And just kind of all happened. And well, when you get to be able to read, and you have these skills now, they're not coping mechanisms anymore. Now they're skills. And you're able to decipher these characters on these pieces of paper that are in front of you. You become Pat Harrison. And just maybe I'm saying that because like COVID shut down a lot of schools and it was a terrible thing, and I couldn't imagine where I would be if I had my school shut down and go completely virtual when I was in 6th grade. There was hours of time that were spent face to face, and it matters to be in person. So I'm already off track. I guess that's my background. So I went to Bergen and I studied business, and to be totally honest with it, I thought I was gonna go to Ramapo and study environmental science to learn what this whole climate change bullshit is about, and so that I can poke holes in it. Well, newsflash, people, I don't think it's bullshit. We are entering the Anthropocene, and it's not a problem about the actual science, but the solutions that are offered, I feel. Nobody can deny that there, might be a sickness. Like I have a bacteria infection on my hand, and I went to a doctor and they said that's bacteria. Treat that. I might say, okay, I'm gonna put propolis on it, and I'm gonna kill that bacteria using the antibacterial properties of propolis, a honeybee product. Some people might say, no, use antibiotics. And there's a place and time to do all that. One of my rabbits are out, son of a gun. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to do something about that big time. I have rabbits. I'm not supposed to mention that until later. Well, I don't know how to edit videos and pitch them together, so I'm not gonna stop. Maybe I'll do a future episode about my rabbits. Where was I? It's about the solutions that are offered, and the solution that's so commonly offered is like, let's get this big government involved, and that will be the solution, because there's people selling the problem, and therefore those that sell things, capitalists, are the problem. And I don't believe that is the case, and I believe strongly that it is not the case. I do think that capitalism is the solution to some of the environmental issues that we have today. But we need to, as entrepreneurs, organize the solutions and then put them onto the market for sale. And take no corners cut approaches to the sale of those products, and know that the mission in the very beginning was not to necessarily make money, but also to get something out into the world. And the most efficient manner and the most sustainable manner was to sell it to the world. And what I mean by sustainability, and I mean it needs to be social, environmental, and economically sustainable. And so not-for-profits tend to be extremely socially sustainable. They address issues that you can't sell. Giving things to people that they just need. There's a not-for-profit in Africa, a guy in South Jersey works with, and they set people up with like wells and teaches them animal husbandry. And that's an extraordinary thing. It needs to be economically sustainable. The government solutions are nowhere near sustainable because the government doesn't have any money. It just prints money. Like, I'm 28, and I'd like to joke, but I'm kind of not joking when I say that I'm not going to get Social Security. I think it was something like 20% of the dollars that do exist were printed in the last 2 years. That's crazy. And we're trillions of dollars in debt, and that's just going to be passed on to the next generation. And it's so scary to be a young man in today's society, looking at like what this country is going to look like in 28 years. Because if we keep on going down the path that we're going, I don't think it would be looking really great. And so relying on that organization for some of these big solutions is not valuable or vitable in any way. And so then there's business, and those were why not those things. I'm going to talk about why this thing. I've always had a little bit of a knack. I've always had a little bit of a bone in me that wanted to hustle, that wanted to sell something, make a couple bucks. Like snow days, I would be out early and shoveling snow. And if the snow was still coming down, I would probably walk around really quickly and secure some contracts for the snowstorm. Go to the usual houses and say, all right, I'll be back at 2 or I'll be back at 4 to shovel when the snow stops. But maybe can I do this or that so it's a lighter load later? And that was one of the big things that I did. So I've always had that side of me, and I play on it. HarBee started because somebody asked for a jar of honey and was willing to pay for it, and it wasn't somebody I necessarily wanted to just be giving something for free. It wasn't friends or family, and they wanted to buy a jar of honey from me. So I said, yeah, sure, here you go. And I sold them a jar of honey, and then boom, that's a business. So that's how HarBee started and why it started. And then there's also this idea of chasing this awesome idea. I'm an extraordinarily lucky man in the way that my mom and dad work extraordinarily hard in order to give me the startup social capital to start all of this. I do sleep in my office now, and I stay 1 or 2 days every 2 weeks-ish down at my parents' house in Dumont. I think people should chase what they have in their brain, and they should sacrifice things like their comfort when they sleep at night. I'm not comfortable eating on a hot plate with a tiny refrigerator. I actually bought a real bed, but I was on an air bed for a year, and it sucked. But I got this vision in my head that I can live off the land through honeybees. And I'm going to be talking about that with the Kickstarter, and how I'm going to be launching the Kickstarter, because I do think it's working, but I do want to just double check to make sure, reiterate and re-push, re-kickstart this. I'm going to make sure it's recording, because that would suck. Talk about those. Oh, I'm at the point where I would talk about the Kickstarter. So yeah, I have this vision of like living off the land through the sale of honey, and I can do it, and I am doing it, but I don't see that I'm not able to provide for myself in the way that I'm gonna need to. If I want to enjoy the comfort that is New Jersey, I'm gonna need to sell more honey. But I don't have the facility to do so. I just took off my shoes and it was gross when I was doing that. Oh, I'm gonna want to use this video later. Ugh. So I have 200 hives now, and I'm able to provide for myself. I'm able to enjoy life on this space rock, which I desperately need to connect with sometimes. But I don't see a way in the future that I'm gonna be able to, provide for a family the way that my parents have provided for me. And so there's a couple directions that I would have to take. Are they all out? I don't think so. I have to take it to about 1,000 hives to make it economically sustainable. Because 200 hives only produces so much honey, and when that honey is sold, it only produces so much revenue. And after rent of the facilities and trucks and the extraction facility and labor to help, I'm able to do well for myself now. But 1,000 hives, well, it's going to have more of there's more expenses in there. When you have 1,000 hives, you need a forklift, a bigger truck. And the issue is I don't have anywhere to put that. So I'm launching this Kickstarter to build systems. So I'm realizing I need to put all that is working into one space that I own. And that ownership matters because, well, that's the economical sustainability to all of this. If you're watching this and you're from northern New Jersey, you know that it's not inexpensive. And if I'm gonna be a neighbor to anybody, I'm gonna need to make a couple more nickels. If I'm gonna be able to retire when my body gets tired, I'm gonna need something on which I can rely. And so the facility and owning it is kind of like the pension plan to all of that. So that's why I'm relaunching, re-kickstarting this business, be it trying to raise a couple more dollars to and not just and it's not a giveaway or something, anything like that. I'm trying to like pre-sell, really. Like, should I go deeper? Like, should I make a leap into this realm? And that's why I have candles, I have these sampler packs, I have these swarm traps. Like, should I? I don't know. And it's not gonna be able to pay for it all. It's just I need a proof of concept that, New Jersey wants local honey at the scale that is economically viable. Because unfortunately, I don't know of any brands that are the person's full profession. A lot of commercial operators or professional operators, they are retired from doing something, and this is something to supplement their retirement. Or they buy honey from anywhere else in the world. I do source my knotweed is from myself. I do make quite a bit here in Sussex County and bring some in from Pennsylvania. The blueberries obviously from South Jersey. And I'm able to do that at that low scale. I'm not selling much of it because, well, I'm able to. I'm a younger guy. I don't need to be making big liability kind of money, and so I don't. But that's like the economically viable way. And so I see with 1,000 hives, I'd be able to have enough honey so that I would be able to do more. The issue is with that, there's all kinds of like enormous problems or enormous, like, now I got 1,000 hives on my hands. I'm gonna need to be able to hire individuals to help me with these kinds of things. And I'm also launching it because of, well, yesterday was my birthday. I turned 28, and if you're a follower or a person that is interested in the astrology of what is 28, I kind of am, and it's my Saturn return, meaning it takes 28 years for Saturn to go around the sun. And so 28 years ago, at the time of my birth, about, Saturn was in the same position that it is right now in relation to the sun. So it's kind of like a time period, and to rebirth it. Like, this is the program that I want to do in this Saturn return. With these 1,000 hives, I'd love to really lean into some of the science that I would like to be doing. And if all goes well, I would have the infrastructure to be able to do that. Nobody wants to work for the guy that sleeps in his office. You can't come into work and have a breakfast plate on the desk that you're supposed to be working at. So, because I'm eating breakfast on that desk. With the success in this Kickstarter, I'm going to be able to hire and be able to execute with those people some of the big research plans that I have. So a researcher down in, I think, Alabama, that's working to survey pollen. And while I bought all these pollen traps, and like, I don't have the time to service the pollen traps, to get a good sample from the hives around that I have all around. So you need to go twice a day on days that you're collecting to open and close it. And so I'm also unable to hire because of that situation that I just described. And so those are the things, that's one of the things I would love to do. I would love to start a real breeding program. I had a guy in Florida that was selling bees in about March. And so what happens is a lot of beekeepers, to really generalize, somewhere in the south, they overwinter. And maybe during that time, you can take one hive and you can split it into two. Those two hives, or maybe just the one, goes to California for almond pollination. They make a couple bucks there, and then they're brought back to the south. That one hive is split into two, and then they go maybe to another pollination contract, maybe blueberries here in New Jersey, and across up and down the East Coast, or into honey production. And in the fall, they're brought back to the south to overwinter. And well, after almonds, this guy's business plan was to sell off about 250 colonies. So I was gonna buy those 250, take them, and split them into 500. Now I have 500 hives, and I would manage them for honey production. The way that I would do that is I would take the hive, this is 2 boxes, basically take the top box off, put it over onto another bottom board, and add a queen. Much more complicated than that, but it's not the time. Those queens that I would be buying would be from people that are doing really interesting stuff. I say that I want to start this breeding program, and I'm not starting anything. I'm really just joining those individuals that are doing some awesome work. And I fell short, and it didn't happen because I was realizing that, well, $100,000 was a big ask to make that happen, and I don't have the facility to handle that amount of hives. So the new plan is, with this Kickstarter, to centralize all the systems that I have built currently. I have the extraction equipment to extract honey that would be produced by 1,000 hives, and I ripped through my 200 hives worth of honey really quickly. It's awesome. And well, I would take what I have now and split them and grow a little slower, a little bit more sustainable, like slow growth to sustainable growth, because I would be investing in that social capital with that researcher that is doing a pollen study. Well, I would love to be sending to this beekeeper, that beekeeper, up and down the East Coast to learn the skills needed to be able to really execute a 1,000 hive program. And so this Kickstarter is to centralize things, and in maybe instead of 3 years having 1,000 hives, it would be 5, because I'd spend a year learning, and then maybe in 2026 I'd buy that load after almonds. The Kickstarter also funds the demos. I do these free demos every Friday and Saturday, and they're totally free. I love doing them. I think it's something that should be free. I think if you're an expert in some field, you should provide something for free. And that's what I choose to do. And so, saying that, I don't foresee myself being able to offer them for free if this Kickstarter isn't successful. Next year, I can definitely see myself continuing to be here on Fridays and most Saturdays to sell honey and to open up the hives that you get to see. But I don't see that happening without some real roots planted. Let me double check again to make sure this is recording. Good. And then another crazy idea of like growing into other food. Being a beekeeper, I'm selling honey to the Denville Farmers Market, and I meet some awesome people that are selling the best meat that's produced here in Jersey, the best foraged products that are here in New Jersey, the best hydroponics, the best greens, and I eat so well. I really do, and I wouldn't be able to afford how well I eat if I didn't have those connections to and able to buy what I'm eating, because I'm eating the best steak here in Jersey, and I trade for it. So I'd love to be able to connect people with that food that don't have access to it or don't know that it exists, and that's a lack of access. You can't access it if you don't know if it exists. So that'd be a future plan if all goes well. The building that I'm looking at would be able to handle all of that, and it would be really, really cool. I got a couple friends that would be, down to join if there was space. And I say friends, but like friends and partners in it. But yeah, that's Pat Harrison. I rambled a bit, and I don't mind. The next episode is going to be at Crystal Springs Resort in Vernon, New Jersey, and I'm just going to work 16 hives, the 16 hives that are there. Going to do that next week, and going to put that out before this is going to be published on Monday. I'll do it before Monday. Get on it. And so thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it if you've made it this far, and if something interests you or something pissed you off, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about it. I'm also sitting here, even though I'm backlit, because I want to inspect this hive. I did an inspection earlier this season, and I made a video about it. I think this was the one that had some swarm cells, or I don't know 100%. I'll link the video at the bottom. And what I did was I actually made a split. I took some resources and I put it into this nuke. And so I need to take a look at that nuke also. And so just gonna light my smoker. Finally using pine needles again. Pine needles gives me a light, poofy smoke. And then let's adjust this camera. And then I gotta find my rabbits. I really don't know how to edit video, and so you're getting all this movement because, I don't know how to edit it out. Oh wow, I don't make any money on the video. I guess it just puts me out into the world, but a little smoke in front. So that's what I did. I must have had a queen, and I bought a queen. I gave it to this hive, and I took the existing hive here and put it here. Let's take a look to see how they're doing. Oh, well, there's our queen right there. So we have a queen. Perfect. I'm gonna take her, I'm gonna put her in this frame over here so that when I slide this frame down, I'm not crushing her. This hive should get a honey super, as it's only June 3rd, and we're gonna be making a little bit more honey this year. Now let's take a look at my nuke. Overflowing. So this could have been something that even swarmed. So they definitely need a second box. And I'd say they're doing amazing. Do I have any cells? Let's put this over here. What we can do is look for cells. Just gonna give the bottom of the box a little crack. Tilt this up. I'm gonna take a look at the bottom. No, I don't see any. Oh, I did just see the queen. She was like there a couple moments ago. I don't know if the camera can see it, but she was. I can use this box. Don't love that there's broken. So I'm moving a frame up to ease them up into the second box. It's much more important with full-size equipment. So yeah, I'm gonna put 2 more frames into this and call it a day. Thank you so much for watching.